You know what absolutely grinds my gears? The fact that people are still saying the Judgment Day carried this match when Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso delivered one of the most electrifying performances we've seen on Monday Night Raw in years. I'm talking about the 13th of November 2023, when these four superstars tore the house down in Denver, Colorado, and some of you still don't give credit where credit is due. Before you come at me in the comments, watch this entire breakdown because I'm about to expose exactly why this match was a masterclass in tag team wrestling, and why the outcome had WWE Universe members divided 4 weeks. Let me set the stage for you. The Judgment Day, Finn Bálor and Damian Priest, walking into Raw as your World Tag Team Champions, cocky as ever, with the entire faction backing them up. Dominik Mysterio at ringside, JD McDonagh lurking like a vulture, and Rhea Ripley's presence felt throughout the arena. They had every advantage possible, and standing across from them, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, the man who still hadn't finished his story, teaming with Jey Uso, who had just broken free from the Bloodline's toxic grip and was finding himself as a singles competitor. This wasn't just a tag team title match, this was a statement about resilience, redemption, and refusing to back down against impossible odds. From the moment that bell rang, the intensity was off the charts. Cody and Jey weren't just fighting for those titles, they were fighting to prove that two men with championship DNA could overcome a faction that had been terrorizing Raw for months. And can we talk about the chemistry between Rhodes and Uso? These two had no business having this kind of synergy. Cody, the methodical technician with that old-school wrestling psychology, and Jey, the high-flying powerhouse with that Samoan warrior mentality, they meshed together like they'd been tagging for years. The early portions of this match showcased exactly why both teams were at the top of the tag team division. Finn Bálor, the calculating assassin, working over Jey Uso's arm with surgical precision. Every hold, every strike, every move designed to weaken Jey for the coup de grace. And Damian Priest, that 6'5" monster, using his power advantage to ragdoll both opponents whenever he got his hands on them. The Judgment Day was dominant in those opening minutes, and you could feel the tide turning in their favor. But here's where it gets interesting, and I want you to drop your answer in the comments. At what point did you realize this match was going to be something special? Was it when Jey hit that suicide dive on Priest? Was it when Cody delivered that disaster kick to Bálor? Let me know below. The psychology in this match was impeccable. The Judgment Day isolated Jey Uso in their corner, cutting off the ring like the veterans they are. Quick tags, double team moves, and constant interference from the outside kept Jey from making that crucial tag to Cody. And you could feel the frustration building in the arena. Every time Jey crawled toward his corner, every time he reached for Cody's outstretched hand, Finn or Priest would yank him back, and the crowd would erupt in frustration. This is the kind of old-school tag team wrestling that built this industry. None of that finisher fest nonsense we see too often. This was about storytelling, about making the audience care about whether Jey could make that tag. And when he finally did, when Cody Rhodes came in as the hot tag and started unleashing hell on the Judgment Day, the roof nearly came off the ball arena. Cody was on fire. Snap power slam to Bálor, disaster kick to Priest, the Cody cutter out of nowhere. He was hitting everything in his arsenal, and the momentum had completely shifted. This is the Cody Rhodes that beat his own demons, the one who returned to WWE to finish his story. Every move was crisp, every strike had bad intentions, and you could see it in his eyes. He wanted those tag team titles. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the outside interference. Dominik Mysterio and JD McDonagh were doing everything possible to give the Judgment Day the advantage. Grabbing ankles, distracting the referee, creating chaos at every opportunity. And this is where the match reached another level. Because Jey Uso, that man who spent years dealing with the Bloodline's numbers game, he knew how to handle this situation. When McDonagh tried to interfere, Jey took him out with a superkick that echoed through the arena. When Dominik got involved, Jey chased him around the ring like his father used to do to Eddie Guerrero. Here's another question for the comments, and I'm genuinely curious about this one. Do you think the Judgment Day's outside interference made them look weaker or smarter? Because there's an argument for both sides. Drop your take below. The final stretch of this match was absolutely insane. Near fall after near fall, each team coming within a 3 count of either winning or losing those prestigious titles. Finn Bálor hit the coup de grace on Jey Uso, and I jumped out of my seat thinking it was over. But Cody broke up the pin at the last possible second. Then Cody hit Cross Rhodes on Damian Priest, and Finn had to make the save. The action was non-stop, the crowd was at a fever pitch, and nobody in that arena knew who was going to walk out as champions. And then came the sequence that everyone's still talking about. Jey Uso, perched on the top rope, measuring Finn Bálor for the Uso splash, the same move his family has used to win countless championships, the move that defined the bloodline's dominance. He leaps, connects with picture-perfect precision, hooks the leg, and the referee counts, 1, 2, 3. But wait, Damian Priest pulled the referee out of the ring at the last second. The 3 count would have happened. Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes would have been your new World Tag Team Champions. But the corruption of the Judgment Day strikes again. The frustration on Cody and Jey's faces was palpable. They had done everything right. They overcame the numbers game, they hit their biggest moves, they had the match won, and it was stolen from them. This is the kind of storytelling that makes you invested in these characters and their journey. But the match wasn't over yet. With the referee distracted and confused about what just happened, the Judgment Day saw their opportunity. Double team maneuvers on Jey Uso, wearing him down, isolating him once again from his partner. Finn Bálor climbed to the top rope one more time, hitting a second coup de grace on the already weakened Jey Uso. This time, Cody couldn't make the save in time. The referee counted, 1, 2, 3. The Judgment Day retained their World Tag Team Championships in one of the most controversial finishes we'd seen in months. Now here's where the WWE Universe got divided, and I want to know where you stand. Drop this in the comments. Should Cody and Jey have gotten an immediate rematch after this robbery? Because that non-counted 3 count should have changed everything about this match's outcome. The aftermath of this match told its own story. Cody Rhodes, absolutely dejected, knowing he was that close to adding more gold to his already legendary career. Jey Uso, frustrated and angry, showing that fire that made him a star even while he was in Roman's shadow. And the Judgment Day? They celebrated like they just won the Super Bowl, titles held high, knowing they dodged a massive bullet. But let's talk about what this match really meant in the grand scheme of things. For Cody Rhodes, this was another example of him being so close to championship glory but coming up just short. This was during his journey to WrestleMania 40, where he would eventually finish his story by defeating Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Championship. Every setback like this one made that victory even sweeter. For Jey Uso, this match proved he belonged at the main event level as a singles competitor. He went toe-to-toe with 2 of Raw's most dominant superstars and nearly walked out with championship gold around his waist. This was a coming out party for main event Jey Uso, the version of himself that would go on to have incredible matches and moments throughout 2024. And for the Judgment Day, this match showed both their strengths and their weaknesses. Yes, they retained their titles, but they needed every advantage possible to do it. They needed the numbers game, they needed the interference, they needed the referee distraction. Without all of that, Cody and Jey had them beat. This planted the seeds for the Judgment Day's eventual downfall and the cracks that would form in their faction. The match quality itself was off the charts. 20+ minutes of non-stop action, incredible tag team psychology, dramatic near falls, and a finish that had everyone talking for weeks afterward. This is the kind of wrestling that reminds us why we fell in love with this business in the first place. Not everything needs to be a 5-second squash match or a finisher spamfest. Sometimes, the best matches are the ones that tell a story from bell to bell. Final question for the comments, and this is the big one: rate this match out of 10 stars. I'm giving it a solid 8.5. The wrestling was phenomenal, the story was compelling, and even though the finish was controversial, it served a purpose in the larger narrative. But I want to know your rating. If you're still not convinced this was one of 2023's best tag team matches, then I don't know what to tell you. The combination of star power, in-ring action, storyline implications, and emotional investment made this an instant classic. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso proved they could hang with anyone. The Judgment Day showed why they were the top faction on Raw, and we got a match that delivered on every level. Make sure you smash that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown. Subscribe to Wrestling Zone 1 for more in-depth analysis of the matches everyone's talking about, and drop all your answers to those questions in the comments below. Did the Judgment Day's tactics make them smart or cowardly? Should there have been a rematch? What was your favorite moment? Let's get a discussion going. And if you think I'm wrong about any of this, well, that's what the comment section